We're live, we're live, we're live, we're live. So I am joined by my beautiful daughter who's looking like Diana Ross. What's the inspiration for the hair? What's the inspiration?
Beyonce, of course. I
Oh,
wanted
Beyonce.
something out the box, something different, something big, and yeah, this is the look.
You achieved it. You
Thank
achieved
you.
it.
Thank
You nailed
you.
it. Now it's very interesting because yesterday morning you had a completely different hairstyle, and then by the afternoon, evening, you looked like this ravishing diva. So
Yeah, that's how I do it.
that's how you roll. That's
I
how
like
you
to
roll.
switch it up.
Yes, and people can't keep people can't keep up. Literally,
Oh,
they
wow.
cannot keep up with their hairdos, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we were having this conversation the other day because we're both now in Mexico. We're about to leave Mexico very soon, so I'll tell you all about that. So come on in, come on in, come on in. And we were having a conversation about what Americans think about travel to different countries because it's very interesting that Americans have a lot of ideas in their minds about countries all over the world with and never question it, right?
Yeah.
Never question it. So I'm just going to throw out a few countries and you tell me what Americans think about it, okay?
Okay.
Now,
Now I can't
okay.
speak for
I was
everybody
about
in
to say, not
America,
all Americans.
but this is just from me. I'm 33, so I guess this is like the millennial black mom perspective of
Okay.
what I think and what I believe a lot of other people
I think.
are thinking as well.
Okay. Okay. So you ready for the first one?
I am.
Okay. So we're going to start with where we are, Mexico. So what do Americans think when you say to them, I'm going to Mexico? What do they say? What do Americans say?
Well, when you told me you were first going to Mexico, my thought was dirt roads,
Dirt roads,
donkeys,
donkey,
yeah, with a whole bunch of bags on the back,
like a pack donkey.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought about like donkeys with a whole bunch of bags.
Rural, very rural.
I thought more like desert.
Oh, desert.
I didn't think that anything was developed
or modern.
No, I didn't think of anything. No, everything that's here, I never imagined it to be anything like Mexico. And you think of most likely the cartel.
The cartel. Where do Americans get the cartel from? Because this is one of the first things Americans say when you're not all Americans, Americans who are in the mindset and the consciousness of there's something wrong with everything else other than America.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you don't leave America because in America we have the best. Like, why would you go anywhere else?
Yeah. And I think honestly, we were kind of born into that and kind of brainwashed into that. Well, my whole life I've been kind of like, if you're not in America, most likely
you're in danger.
Yeah. It's not safe. It's going to be federale rolling up on you.
Just anything can happen.
It's going to be a free for all. Who knows what's going to happen in Mexico? That was my thought, and
that there's just no order. It's no law and order.
No.
Wow.
And definitely not safe. Not safe to be at, and yeah. I thought it was going to be basically the complete opposite of everything
that is actually here once you got here. Okay, so Mexico is, people are thinking that it's lawless, that and a lot of Americans think that Mexican people, all the Mexican people, are trying to come over the border into America. Do you find that to be the case? That no, of course there are Mexican people that come into America, yet there are so many American and Canadian people in Mexico. A Mexican person told me the other day, we're going to build a wall.
That's funny.
Too many of y'all expats coming down here. We're going to build a wall. So what do you say about that? Like everyone in Mexico is fleeing to the border trying to get into the United States.
Well, from the other perspective, if you've never been to Mexico, if you never stayed in Mexico for a long period of time, all you see on the news and the media is that everybody is trying to come across the border. Everybody is rushing the border because evidently it's so terrible,
so bad
in Mexico. Yeah.
And they don't even tell you the broader picture that a lot of people are coming from Venezuela, people are coming from other regions that are very troubled. Mexico is not troubled, yet there are countries that are actually very troubled, and they come up through Mexico and into the United States.
Mhm.
And so not all the people trying to come across the border from Mexico are Mexicans. So we have to take a more holistic approach when we're looking at global events in South America, what's driving it. And obviously people don't want to leave their home. So if they're leaving their home, it's because of some tragic something. The Venezuelan government basically impoverished everyone in the country, pretty much, runaway inflation. So what are you going to do? Your money, they were saying that in Venezuela it was so bad that on the first of the month, people would run and buy everything, because by the time the end of the month came, the price would like double, triple.
Oh, wow.
So they had to buy everything on the first month, just the runaway inflation from horrible economic policy. Okay, so Mexico is lawless. That's what people say. A lot of Americans think it's the cartel. They think anything goes. The federale could roll up on you.
Absolutely.
There's a donkey with packs. What about with bags? What about the dude with the Mexican dude with the poncho on?
Oh,
and
yeah,
well,
that's Mexico's mascot.
That's the mascot,
and
right?
The big sombrero.
And a sombrero. Now, have you seen any Mexican men at all wearing a sombrero?
Surprisingly not.
Not one. How many Mexican men have you seen?
Hundreds.
Since you've been here.
Yeah, maybe 1,000. I don't know. Hundreds.
They're all walking around.
Completely normal.
Completely normal.
Wears, Western clothes over here.
Regular clothes.
Yeah.
Now, we're not saying that it's not part of their heritage, because, there are, like, if you go someplace and you see people dressed up in the garb of, like, if you're going to have like a quartet or something, there might be a sombrero there on the wall or something like that. It's like an ode to the heritage. But that dude walking around with the guitar and the poncho, haven't seen him yet.
No.
But these are the images.
It is.
That come to people's minds.
Very much.
And how can we get rid of that? Because none of this stuff is true. None of it's true. How do we get rid of it? Because really what my whole intention is in this is to inspire. Is to inspire you to get your passport, get out there, see the whole world. Live your life. Live your big, fabulous dream life. So how can we help people just go past the images that immediately come to mind when they hear a place like Mexico because of the conditioning? Like, we don't even realize we've been conditioned by the American story that America is the best. And why would you go anywhere else? Like, why would you leave here?
And it's really tough because, like, even me and my husband, as we were getting ready to come down here, we had to go through a lot of fears that fears
came up.
Yeah.
What kind of
Definitely.
Fears? Let's take them on. What kind of fears are you talking about?
Oh my gosh. Are we making a huge mistake of coming to a third world country or something like that?
Mexico is considered a third world country.
I don't know. Is it?
It's not. It's a first world country.
See, I'm still in it. I'm still in the brainwashing. You know what I mean? Like, we were thinking.
I'm going to tell you something. Canada, United States, and Mexico is basically one big place. The only distinction, with very few distinctions, because even the cell phone service covers you in Canada and Mexico. We drive on the same. It's not really a huge culture difference. I'll tell you what I mean in a second. Because Canada, United States, and Mexico are friendly, right? We're on this North American continent together. And Canada, yes, they have English and French. America has English. And Mexico has Spanish and some English here and there. Like, you go to Cancun, you go to Mexico City, you're going to find more English, but mostly Spanish where we are. So we still all drive on the same side of the street. We all still have the same stop sign. It looks the same. Like, you could drive a road from Texas into Mexico, and you're still on a regular paved road.
Mhm.
Same with Canada. You could drive from the United States to Canada. So this is not a third world country. Does it look like a third world country when you go outside?
No.
I mean, a gorgeous designer malls with ice skating rings.
Yeah, I had no idea like any of that was here. And even still to this day, 3 to 4 months in since we've been here, I'm still shocked.
What are you shocked at?
The activities for the children, the Black community out here, the
huge expat community.
Yeah.
I think where we are in Merida, Mexico, there's about 12,000 expats here.
Oh wow.
I think there's thousands of expats in this part of Mexico. All across Mexico is probably millions.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm still shocked by all the malls.
The malls are fabulous.
The malls are out of this world.
They're huge.
Just everything that they offer. I'm just like, they don't have this in US.
No, the malls are actually better than the US, I think.
The malls are way better than the US.
Yeah.
And
but Americans wouldn't believe that.
No, they not. And the amount of activities for the children, like I'm like, man, they love their children here in Mexico.
Their children.
Everything, every place that we went to, restaurants, malls, they all have a play place for the kids that's like completely included. You can go to a restaurant, you can send your kids right over there to the play place or the play area, and everything is fine. They can play with the other kids that are at the restaurant. They don't have anything like that except for like McDonald's or something.
Yeah, McDonald's has a little play place
in the States, but here in Mexico, that they have that at like all the nice restaurants, all the malls. You can let your children play in the indoor free playground in the mall, which is like
unheard of.
It was unheard of to me. And the children, they love it.
Oh, they love it.
Yes. So many free activities here. There's certain things. And the parks.
The parks are
insane. I'm like, what?
And some of them free.
All of the parks are free.
All of them have been free. Okay.
All the parks are free. And I guess in the US, when you go to a playground or a park, you imagine that it's going to be like one, what do you call it? Like one playground, jungle gym facility. And at these parks, it's like 6 of them and a water spray ground. I mean, the kids have been having their best life. Yes, and I'm loving it because I can actually go to the park and sit back and relax. And they have like cafes at the parks. They always have like a place for adults, and then there's places for the kids. So it's very, very, very family oriented in this particular part in Merida.
Yeah,
very
Merida it is.
Beautiful place for a family, and especially when you have multiple children, it just works out amazing that way.
I think that's why there's so many Black families here.
Probably
Would you say
so.
Huge Black community in Merida?
Yeah, for sure. And I would also say is that I've never been to a place, and I've lived in all different places in America, and I've never been to a place where the community is like so close knit.
Yeah, it's a really strong community here,
and everybody is in WhatsApp, instant message, all of these different groups based on your interests. Everybody's tapped in on Facebook. All the Black expats do, different events.
We were at the Beyonce concert, movie the other day.
Yes.
Had the whole theater. It was amazing.
Yes. And that was just one of the events. But I mean, I've been to so many different events here and met so many other Black expats with families. I'm like, wow, this is incredible.
It's an amazing community.
Oh, for sure.
It's an amazing community.
And I think also too, just the idea of in America, Black people are kind of like, oh, I see you. You know, you can walk down the street and see Black people all over the place. So
everywhere. If you're in a Black neighborhood, you see a lot of Black people.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess when you go outside of the United States and you're in these different countries, it seems like Black people are more inclined to stick together.
Yeah, see each other. Hey, how you doing? Like,
yes,
sister sighting. That's what I call it. Sister sighting, brother sighting. Hey, you know, because you're in a sea of Mexican beautiful hosts who host us here, right? And you see a Black person way over there, or you could go a day or two and not see any Black people at all.
I don't see any. I don't see any Black people really
just wandering around.
Yeah, I might see them here and there at like
sprinkled
Walmart or something like that.
Somewhere.
Yeah, but really, I see them most in the groups.
Yeah, and if you're in the groups and they say we're having an event, we're doing football, we're doing take the kids to the zoo, we're doing yoga, it's just a whole swarm of Black people that come.
Yes,
it's really beautiful.
Yes, and I would have never imagined that in Mexico.
Really?
No way.
And you know what's interesting about that? This is not unique. Because in Tulum, there's a whole Black community. In Playa del Carmen, there's a whole Black community. I don't know if a lot of Black expats live in Cancun, though. Cancun is not really the place where I would want to live. Just like party.
Yeah.
You know, and it's super touristy.
Mm-hmm.
And as we get here, we're kind of coming away from the tourists,
mm-hmm.
right? Once we got here. What about y'all getting 5 passports? Because the whole family came down before we go to our next countries. How was it getting the passports, choosing to come here, overcoming the fears, landing in Cancun? We were in Cancun, then we went and stayed in Playa for a little bit. Then we came here to Merida, to my home here in Merida. So how was that for y'all? And it was a family of 5, you, hubby, and the 3 kids. So
yeah, so we're not the type of people to like plan months in advance and micromanage everything. We're just kind of like go for it. And so when I tried to get passports, I think we were like 2 weeks out from leaving. And the only way that we could get passports was to drive from Philly to New York, Buffalo, New York, I think it was.
That was the closest appointment that they had
to actually receive the passports, to get them on the same day.
That day, instant passports. Because
exactly.
We always do the passports after you get your global flight, right? If you have an international flight, you can just make an appointment, any passport office. If you're a U.S. citizen, walk in with all your paperwork, they'll give you the passport that day or the very next day.
And that process, I will tell you, gave me anxiety.
It gave you anxiety. How come? Because it was too close?
Yes.
Okay.
I was scared to death that we was not going to make the flights. I didn't know what was going to happen. As far as the passports, I was just like, it was very high anxiety that I was like, oh my gosh, we're not going to make it. Are we wasting money buying these flights and we don't even have passports yet? I mean, it was all an ultimate trust in the universe and keep on telling ourselves like, oh no, we're going. Everything is working out. It's good. It's good. We are good. We are good. We are good. And we had to say that
like thousands of times.
Yes.
We're good. We're good. We're good.
Yes.
And you're talking about 5 passports. That was like over $1,000, wasn't it? For expedited passports.
Yeah, it
pictures,
was.
all of that.
Yeah, because then we also had to go get our pictures taken at like the UPS store. And that was like $25 per person or something like that. So that was our first little.
It was like $125 just for y'all to get pictures for the passports.
Yeah. Yes. And then that was a whole ordeal. It took us like 2 hours to get the pictures because the kids couldn't stop laughing. And the guy was like, it's a serious photo. You have to
Straighten
be
up your
serious.
face.
You have to like
Don't smile.
yeah,
Just
we
like a
didn't
mugshot.
know. Yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't know that. And so here I go. I'm like, oh, I'm the first one. Okay, here I go. Hey, you know, I'm thinking about a driver's license photo. Yeah.
No.
And he's like a serious face, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Like what?
Okay, just a blank face. And our kids are, you know, at the time it was 6, 7, and 10, and I'm like,
and they're making faces and
yeah, and they could not have a straight face to take this photo. I'm like, come on, guys, come on,
we
guys.
can do this.
Yes, and Ether kept on having to be like, okay.
And when you're trying not to laugh, and it's 3 kids,
yes,
they just keep laughing. Then I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was the whole thing, and then finally we got our passports, and we actually drove all the way to Buffalo with our passport photos.
How long did it take you to drive?
6 hours.
From Philly to Buffalo, New York.
Yeah, I think it was like 6 hours.
Because that was the place that had the appointment for you to be able to be seen and get your passports that day.
Yeah, I think our choice was either Buffalo or it was somewhere else. Was it Virginia or something like that? And it was further away. Yeah, so we were like, okay, let's just
go to drive to
Buffalo, New York, and get these passports.
But I mean,
same day.
And here's the deal. If you want it, you're going to do it. Because people that want to live their global dreams, nothing stops them. Nothing would stop me from going to get a passport.
Yeah,
nothing.
For sure. And for the longest, I think I wanted a passport probably 3 years before I actually got it.
Yeah, because it's 5 of y'all, so you're talking $1,500. This is an investment.
Yeah,
and if you're not,
and then the flights
about to leave, and the flights. And everything. Yeah. And if you don't have plans to necessarily leave the country, why are you in a rush to get passports?
Yeah. So I think I was putting it off, but always putting it on my New Year's Eve kind of like bucket list goal sheet for like 3 years.
This is the year we get our passport.
Yes.
But it's nothing like booking a flight, because then you have to get the passports. Exactly. Once you book those international flights, and people have a hard time booking flights and stepping out on faith. How did you do that? Like, how did you actually overcome the fears to book the flight so you could have that accountability? Okay, we have to get the passports now.
Yeah, booking the flight it was probably the first step that kind of like put me over the edge. But even right before, so probably like a couple days before I was like, okay, that's it. We're booking the flight. My car got broken into in Philly.
You know, look, can I just say something about Philly compared to now, Philadelphia people, please don't get mad at me. Don't throw rocks at me. Every time I would go to Philly to visit y'all, because I'm always visiting my family wherever y'all are, I used to call it Philadelphia. The filthiest city I have ever seen in my entire life.
And Mom, that is very offensive to the people that's from Philly.
I apologize, Philly people. Get your sanitation system in check. Do you see any filth like that around here in Mexico?
No.
I mean, it's just trash for no reason. It's just trashy.
But you know,
but not all parts.
Something happened with Philly.
Something happened with their sanitation.
With the sanitation.
What happened?
There's a whole story behind that, and I read deeper into that. Long story short, this goes back like years and years ago with the government, the sanitation department, people going on strike, not enough pay, changing the schedule from 2 days a week trash pickup to now 1 day a week, one every other week, and that really. Yeah, Philly has to do a little bit better with the sanitation.
Yeah, they definitely have to get that. And look, with the strike, I grew up in New York City. In the 70s, we had a huge sanitation strike, and the trash was everywhere. The trash was piled up. So I can understand a strike. I can understand a temporary situation where it's just filth and trash. Philly has been like that for years.
I think they never recovered.
They didn't
from
get
that.
on. New York got back on the stick.
New York is terrible, just like Philly, though.
But I don't think New York is as trashy as Philly, because when you go downtown in New York and you go to like some parts of New York City, if you walk Wall Street, you're not gonna see all that trash like that. Wall Street.
Well, I think the same thing is with Philly. Like, if you go downtown to the nice parts where all the tourists are, Center City and all that,
trash.
You don't see all of that trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only when you go all deep into the neighborhoods. I feel like it had the same amount of trash as any other city from my perspective.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. So forgive me, Philly people. Don't be mad at me, because every time I went to Philly, I was like, "This is Philadelphia." I'm sorry. Okay. Now, with regard to Philly, y'all were in a not good part of Philly, which no judgment on that, because I grew up in the hood. I grew up in Harlem, so there's no big deal about that part. Yet the car was broken into. So what was happening with the car?
So with my car, I had a Kia, and I guess at this point in time, this was like last year or so, it became a trending thing on TikTok that Kias are easy to break into. And it was a whole thing about something about the Kia boys.
TikTok thievery.
Yes.
What?
And about how they were stealing these cars using a USB cord. And Ether was the one that told me. I had no idea about it.
Ether was only what, 8 at the time?
He might have been 9.
He was 9 when he told you about this.
Yes. And I said, my car was broken into. It was attempted broken into for the first time. And I literally woke up out of my sleep just because I just had this feeling.
Intuition, spirit was saying, hey, you need to wake up.
Yeah. And I looked out my window and I saw a kid, not a kid, but like a teenager.
Yeah, these are like 16, 17-year-olds.
Yeah. And they're literally at my back window trying to break it like this. And I see them and I yell out the window, yo, what are you doing?
That's my car.
What the hell? I was
WTF.
Like,
that's my car.
Yes.
Sitting right in front of my house.
Yes, right in front of my house. And this might have been like
2 in the morning,
2 or 3 months after I got the vehicle.
Oh,
after I purchased the vehicle.
Yes.
So, I was like, my baby,
and you
my
know
car.
And it was so amazing how you manifested the vehicle. You did all of this work to manifest this vehicle.
Yes. And, and then the crazy thing is, so after that happened, I called the police and the police were like, oh, it's nothing we can do about it. Best thing.
Because they ran away.
Yeah.
And but the window was still broken, though, right?
No, this was the very first time. The window wasn't even broken.
Oh, okay. This was the first time.
It was like an attempt, but it didn't happen yet.
Okay.
And that was the very first time. And I called the police. They said, put a club on there. I'm like, okay. So then I take my car to work one day. This was maybe a month or 2 after that. Again, same thing happens. I'm coming out of my job and I see someone in the driver's seat of my car.
Of your car.
And I see somebody standing on the sidewalk as if he's the lookout person.
Like, dudes. It's my car.
And again, I'm seeing these are young guys.
Yeah, they're like 16, 17. And they're not violent.
Right. And then again, I look and I'm like, yo, that's my car. What are you doing? I'm just like, I'm living.
Oh, yeah, just like,
yeah. And I'm like, yo, I just went through this like 2 months ago. Like, at this point, I am just living. And I had my bags in my hand. I had the kids with me.
Yes. Oh, the kids were with you.
I was going to get lunch. I had 2 more clients in the salon. So
this was middle of the day.
Yes, it was broad daylight. And it looked like when I said, yo, that's my car. What the hell? Again, I'm starting to like get really upset. I'm yelling. The guy is in the driver's seat. He looks up at me. Almost like one of my sons, like, right, snap, I'm caught.
Yeah, I got caught.
And then he hurries up and runs out the car. And I'm like, again, I'm sitting here kind of like flabbergasted, like, what the heck?
And you know what I'm doing? I'm sitting down here chilling in Mexico, super safe, super lovely, super. And I'm like, why are y'all suffering like that? Like, what is going on?
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that every part of America is like that, because it certainly isn't. Yet, people do suffer in parts of America, and they never think to leave America.
No.
They
that was not
never
my
think
thought.
that that could be a solution. Just leave.
Yeah. Yeah, that was not my
It's simple.
thought at all.
Just leave. You know, because you want to go to a beautiful neighborhood. You want to go to if you go to a beautiful neighborhood in America, it's going to cost you some beautiful ducats.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
And you want to be in a safe place. And I think Merida is either 2 or 3 of the safest places to live in all of North America.
Mhm.
And the number 1 place to live was in all of North America, safest place to live is not in the United States. I think it's Canada. I think it's Quebec or something like that.
Interesting.
So yeah, and if you were in Chicago, it's a good chance you'd probably be shot or something like that. Because isn't Chicago like the murder capital of the world?
Right.
Not just of America, of the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's tough.
So I don't know why we think that now America's not perfect and it's not evil either. That's not the message. And the message isn't Mexico is perfect and America is horrible. That's not the message either. The message is go where it works for you, and that may be out of the country. Give it a shot.
Give it a try.
Give it a try. You could always go back.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, if you have family, like I was already here, and I'm like, hey guys, you know, you get a house for $500 a month down here, a beautiful house, 2-3 bedrooms. How many beautiful homes have you seen people is paying 500, 600, 700 a month?
Tons.
Beautiful home, reasonable food.
Yeah, and there's been people that I've met here that said they just came and stayed in an Airbnb for a year.
That's right. You could stay in an Airbnb for 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
3 months, 1 month, then go back to America.
Just because it's so affordable here, and I don't think we ever considered that in America, just with Airbnb being so high. But over here, you can get an Airbnb for
$350 for the month, something like that.
It depends. Maybe a studio. It depends on how big your family is, but definitely we were looking at Airbnb $600 a month
for the whole month.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just keep doing it for like a year.
Yeah.
A lot of people come down here and they don't want to get a house and they don't want to get, you know, they don't know yet. They're exploring. So they're just going to stay in Airbnb for 6 months.
Yeah.
So all in all that Americans think about Mexico has proven to not be true. Is that accurate?
Well,
what is it?
Somewhat, because I think that through this experience, I realized that there's things that I like, there's things that I don't like, but I feel like it's the same in America.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad for the experience. I'm grateful for the experience.
I am so glad, because once you have an experience, no one can take it from you. You have your own growth. You know for yourself. You're not going by what somebody else told you about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, I experienced big culture shock when I went to Bali. Remember when I went to Bali to live? And extreme culture shock. So when I came here, so I had already been accustomed to living abroad, and I've already been to like 20, 30 countries, right? Probably more. So when I came to Mexico, it wasn't as big a culture shock for me as it was, I think, for you and for some other people.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, the language, different food. What else was different?
Those are the main biggest things.
The language
and the accessibility. Because, you know, I love the beauty supply store.
The beauty supply, now they don't have the Black products.
Yeah.
You got to get the Black products and bring them down here.
Yeah.
Because when the sisters go looking for something, we can't find it.
Mm-hmm.
There's regular gel, but they're getting more Black products in Walmart.
Mainstream Black products.
Black products. Yeah. Not the stuff you really want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And back in the States, I used to go in the beauty supply
Go
store
to
and
the
just
beauty supply
just walk
store.
around. Yeah.
No, the beauty supply store here is different, even though we do have a Sally's here, it's a Sephora here, but that's not the kind of beauty supply store that we're accustomed to back in the hood. Or not even the hood, just in the neighborhoods that service Black women and
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think just with the accessibility of things, you know what I mean? Like the produce, you know what I mean? It's like you have to go out of your way to kind of find these things and locating certain things, you know what I mean?
Because
I
the
feel like
supermarkets are different, right? So the things that you would be looking for normally are different. It's in different places. It has different labels. You can't read the labels. So you kind of have to figure out, oh, this must be pepper and this is definitely salt.
yeah. Yeah.
Or we might be in the store with the little Google Translate. Okay, let
On
me put
each
this-
label, yeah.
What's in this?
And
what's in that?
I'm a big label reader.
Yeah, for
in
sure.
the States.
For
I
sure.
want to know, like, what is this? What is that? Does it have, you know, red dot number 5 or whatever? So
Mhm.
when we first came to this grocery store, I think we were in the store for like 2 hours and I only got like 10 items because I'm sitting here trying to
What
figure out
is a
what am
zapato
I
a lo forwari por fuera?
I had no idea
Trying
what I
to
was
read
buying some
Spanish.
of those things. Yeah.
And we straight from the hood. We like, I don't understand that. And I should know Spanish. I've learned a lot more Spanish since I've been here. And my daddy's Puerto Rican, so it's no excuse. I need to understand more Spanish.
But
so
now
that's been a
there's-
blessing.
There's some things that's here that are not in the States, like how we mentioned the
lots of
malls,
stuff. Yeah.
the parks, and in the grocery stores. Every grocery store has a huge bakery section,
Huge.
fresh.
That's
breads
very
and
common
things like
throughout all of like Latin America.
Mm.
Latin America, you want to find some breads and pastries
Yes.
and all of that pan in the morning. Oh my goodness, you're going to find the sweets and
Yes.
the breads and the croissants and just all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the prices too. The prices for
Super
everything is very cheap here. So that part I do like.
You like that part?
Yes. And
you
then,
like going to the little OXXO over there and the croissants are like what, 30 pesos or
13 pesos.
13 pesos. How much is
It's like
that?
70 cents.
70 cents.
Yeah.
Oh, come on now. In Miami, how much is one croissant?
Like
$3,
$3.
That's
Yeah.
right. One
Yeah.
croissant. You could get 10 of them over here, a dozen.
Mhm.
How about that drink you have right there? You have a green juice.
Yeah.
From the
green
Negrita
juice.
at the corner.
Right at the corner, they have fresh juices and
Fresh
stuff.
squeezed juices.
And I asked him because I was like, I want to know, does this have sugar? He said, no sugar, never sugar.
No.
I'm like,
never sugar in that.
okay, all right.
It's chaya. Chaya is a really beautiful green, really deep green that's here. Did you know that was chaya?
Yeah.
Yeah, chaya. It's almost like a spinach. It's sort of like a spinach collard green mix. Chaya. And then they put pineapple in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's nice. And then the tattoos here.
Oh, the
much cheaper.
But wait a minute. Oh, so you got your tattoo the other day?
Yeah.
How much was your tattoo?
My tattoo was 1,200 pesos. So
which is about
like
$65, $70.
$70.
Something like that at the current exchange rate.
Mm-hmm.
And how much would that tattoo have cost you in the United States?
Like
300, 200?
Yeah, 250 maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so before we go to our next country, one last thing about Mexico. What about the massages and the care?
Yes.
The lashes.
And that's what I
the
said.
Nails, the pedicures.
Yes.
You got fresh nails.
I said I would
Like,
come
what about that?
here just for the services, you know, like even
Laser
with
hair removal,
microblading, lashes, everything is going to be like half the price that it is.
Maybe
in
a third of the
States.
price. Huh?
Yeah.
Because your new full set of acrylic,
Yeah,
and toenails,
a full pedicure, and that was 450 pesos,
which is like what, $30?
Yeah.
For a full set of acrylic. Is that gel polish?
Yes. Acrylic
And a
with gel
full
polish.
pedicure.
And a full pedicure with
How
gel
much
polish.
would that have cost in Miami?
Probably like 120
At least
bucks.
120 at least. Because I got my nails done in Miami all the time.
Yes.
You want to drop a good C note plus.
Yes, and then
Plus
the child
tips.
care. The child care.
Oh, the child
You
care.
know, I found a place and they do. The other day I just paid 1,000. No, it was actually 900 pesos for 6 hours for all 3 kids. So
for all 3.
Yeah.
So you drop them off at like 9, pick them up at 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was private care. So I'm like, wow, that was amazing.
Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
So the bottom line of Mexico is Americans, wash everything out of your mind that you know about Mexico.
Yeah.
And experience it for yourself.
Just experience it.
That's just experience it.
Yeah. And another thing that I would say is before we came here, we were watching so many YouTube videos trying to see what it's like and trying to get an idea of what is it and answer all of our questions on YouTube. And I was just talking to one of the sisters here, like, it doesn't matter how many videos that you watch, you could binge watch for 3 months straight and you will still not get the full picture and the full idea of what it is to be here.
I keep telling people that they keep trying to live a YouTube life. They're watching YouTube to see what it's like in Sweden. Well, Sweden has so-and-so. Did you go to Sweden? No, but it was on YouTube.
Mm-mm.
Come on, people. They have used YouTube as a replacement for living life.
Yeah.
Live your life.
Yeah.
Beyond YouTube. Because the first thing we love to do is go on YouTube it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to throw another country out at you and tell me what Americans think of Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, Saudi Arabia. What do you think Americans think about Saudi Arabia? Or just Middle East? Israel?
Middle East.
Dubai?
Well, first of all, I would say Middle East and Dubai is two different
things. Okay, talk about it.
In my mind.
Okay.
Middle East, overall, you think of desert, camels, the guys with the thing on. It's dangerous. You cannot walk around there wearing whatever you want. You have to be fully clothed as a woman.
All the women have to be fully clothed all the time.
Yes, if you walking around without a man, you might get killed, or something bad might happen.
You might get killed if you're not with a man and you're a woman.
Yeah, well, I've seen it. I've heard about it.
Okay.
Rumors and things about walking around in the Middle East is just not safe. Anything can happen. Terrorists. We think about now Dubai.
Full of terrorists.
Yeah,
the Middle East is full of terrorists. That's what Americans think.
And you better carry your passport with you at all times.
At all times, and know exactly where the American embassy is, because you might have to get to the American embassy.
And if something goes down, you better hold out that passport.
You better hold up the passport and say American. Because they get the Americans out first anytime there's a problem.
Because you think the Middle East is just not safe.
It's just not safe.
No.
Especially not for women.
No.
Okay.
Dubai, on the other hand, that's on the flip side.
It's on the flip side. What's
very lavish, luxury, foreign cars, exotic
Lambos
women
on every corner.
Yes, it's exotic women. And it's just, my whole idea of Dubai is like rich, lavish, just top tier, fabulous lifestyle.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Now, question. If you were to be invited, let's say, to Israel is a first world country. It's an actual modern country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Saudi Arabia is a beautiful place. Beautiful place. And You don't have to be covered to go there.
Mm.
Like American people go there all the time,
Mhm.
right? Yet Americans, I think sometimes we have something in our mind about Islamic countries.
Yeah.
Because America is a very Christian country,
Mm.
right? And so Americans have something in their mind about Islamic countries, Middle East, throwing rocks, little bombs with a little bottle and the cloth in it, light it and throw it. Always some kind of war going on in the Middle East and things like that. And we don't understand that there's very beautiful places in the Middle East, very beautiful places. And never once, I've been in the Middle East many times, never once did I ever have to be covered up for anything. Now, if you go into a mosque,
Mhm.
of course, I would cover going into a mosque. I'm respectful of all religions and all spiritual spaces. Just walking around in the street, nobody ever, I've walked by myself, with myself
Mhm.
in the Middle East, never had an issue.
Mhm.
Isn't that interesting? Okay.
Yes, very.
Let me throw another one at you. Vietnam. What do
Oh,
what do Americans think about Vietnam?
I think about bustling streets, whole bunch of people, dirt roads.
It's not paved streets. Dirt roads is what comes to your mind.
Mhm.
Okay.
A whole bunch of children asking for the money.
poor scrappy kids.
Yes.
Begging.
Mhm.
Okay, continue.
I think of the open street markets, like
Okay.
the open air street markets where they're making all of these different types of
Street
foods.
food, really good street food, or no, not good. Is it good or is it not good?
My perspective,
Not good.
Good.
They're like cooking.
Unsanitary.
Oh, it's unsanitary. It's dirty.
It's the food is sitting out.
It's sitting out.
You know,
dirt from the road is landing in the food. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know why I'm getting, when I think of Vietnam, I think of like hustle and bustle, a whole bunch of people trying to get to places.
Okay.
And it's just very frantic. I don't know.
Okay.
I just don't get a good vibe from Vietnam.
Vietnam is beautiful. Once again, and maybe, some of these concepts are also age specific because
Maybe so.
you are millennials,
Mhm.
right? And for me, I'm baby boomers, and we're accustomed to the Vietnam War. So sometimes when we think of Vietnam, we just think of war-torn place. But Vietnam is fabulous. Like Hanoi, Vietnam is like one of the best cities on the planet. I cannot wait to get there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay, let me throw this one at you. Africa. Any country in Africa. Africa has over 50 countries. But when you just say Africa to an American, what do they think?
I think the first thing that Americans would think of is dirt road, mud huts, tribal. Everybody is wearing the garb.
Mm-hmm.
You think of medicine woman, villages, people with staffs
and spears. Do you think spears?
Spears, yeah. Very hot,
super hot,
very hot. And yeah, that's basically, everybody's barefoot.
Wow.
That is the general idea that people think of when they think of Africa.
Any African country or specific African countries? Like if you said Congo, or if you said Senegal, or if you said Nigeria, or if you said Ghana, these are all very different places. What would you think?
Well, for me personally, I've been wanting to go to Africa for a long time. So I think my views might be a little bit differently from your typical American, because I think of like Tanzania and I think of like beaches and something like serene or something like that. I think of Ghana, and before I knew about what Ghana was like and people investing in properties and things in Ghana, I thought it was just general Africa.
It was clumped in with all of Africa. It's the dark continent. It's third world.
Yeah.
It's underdeveloped. People are still in huts and villages and
I think
barefoot.
of you remember that movie with Don Cheadle, Hotel Rwanda?
Oh, I remember Hotel Rwanda. Ooh, about the Rwandan war. Yeah, I remember that.
That's kind of like the general idea of Africa as a whole.
The whole continent.
Yeah.
Not to mention that these are over 50 different countries, and each country in Africa is different.
Mm-hmm.
Just like America and Canada and Mexico are different countries.
Mm-hmm.
Yet Americans seem to have in their minds Africa. And when you say you're going to Africa, they're thinking lions.
Yeah, people are like, don't go to Africa.
Don't go to Africa.
Yeah.
Like kids are starving.
Yeah.
It's got the militia with the big guns.
Yes.
Going around brutalizing people.
Mm-hmm.
Like these things that occur, I don't think people understand that they're situational.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have an uprising in a place. You had an uprising in America. Right in Washington, D.C., people did an uprising and attacked the Capitol.
Right.
So, I mean, people uprise.
Right.
In Paris and Europe, people are always uprising. They protest like till the cows come home. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole uprising thing, and then I think also people are thinking that there's so much violence in Africa, and they don't realize that the America does violence all over the world. Americans don't think about that. They don't think that the American military is all over the world. America has the biggest military. That's why America was able to hold dominance, because the military is insane all over the world.
And I think also the media plays such a huge role in this, because anything that Americans are doing, they don't tell us about.
Oh, no, they don't tell us about that.
So we don't have like the full picture.
No, you don't have unless you do your own research.
Any of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's definitely only one perspective that they're trying to push, the narrative that America is the best.
It's the best.
It's
got the best healthcare.
Yeah.
It's got the best technology. It's the most advanced. It's got the best opportunities for jobs and for works, for career. Why would you ever need to leave America? That is the American programming.
Yeah.
So now that you have a passport, where do you want to go?
Oh, that's a good question. I definitely want to go to Tanzania.
Or as they say in Africa, I think what they say over there is Tanzania.
Oh, okay. Tanzania.
And then Zanzibar, because Zanzibar is an island right off of Tanzania. And Zanzibar, amazing, beautiful beaches, resorts. Like, these countries in Africa are fabulous. Fabulous resorts. South Africa, I've been to Kenya. Downtown Kenya, you're talking Kenya, Nairobi, absolutely advanced, absolutely modern, absolutely beautiful, absolutely magnificent.
Yeah.
I haven't been to South Africa yet. I hear the same about South Africa. Ghana, people love it. Nigeria, what's not to love? Senegal, huge with the fashion. They say all the women in Senegal look like they just stepped off a runway.
Yeah.
You know, like Senegal is into their whole fashion. Ethiopia, how amazing is Ethiopia? You know, I've been to parts of Africa. I've been to Egypt, which people think Egypt is in the Middle East. Egypt is in Africa. It's in Africa. I don't know how people think it's the Middle East, but that's what we've developed over the years. Yet, when I've been to these places, they're absolutely beautiful and amazing. So Ghana is one of your dream
I
destinations?
definitely want to go to Ghana. I want to go to Dubai. And it's funny because I was talking to the kids a couple weeks ago in the library, and just mixing and mingling with other expats, and the kids are talking with other expat children. And
these expat kids have been everywhere.
The expat.
If you only been to
like,
Mexico in this expat community, they look at you like, what? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Oh, we just came
yes.
from Barcelona. Oh, we were in Ghana for 6 months. Oh, what were they saying?
Yeah, they were saying that. They're like, oh, we just came from Turkey. We were in Turkey for 3 months. And oh, now we're here for 3 months. And I think the children also have that same type of mindset. So after we were at the library with the other kids and had my kids mixed in with them.
With the kids that just came from Ghana and Turkey and Barcelona, Spain, and all of these places,
Yes.
Portugal.
And my 6-year-old daughter was like, yeah, mommy, can we go to Greece after that? I'm like, and then Ether.
Come on, Empree. That's
then
right. That's
Ether,
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Can we go to Greece after this? Well,
Yes.
of course you can.
And then Ether, the youngest, the oldest one, he's like, no, I wanted to go to Turkey after. Tokyo after.
Oh, this. Tokyo, Japan first after this.
Because Tokyo, they have this and that. I'm like, oh my goodness.
What have we done?
Put my kids on some
putting our kids around these expats.
Putting these ideas into my kids' heads. I'm like, y'all got to give me a breather. This was like my first time outside of the country, and I'm like, I need a woosah from this.
Be just a minute.
Yes, I'm not a nomad by any means. I don't enjoy like incessantly
moving around
all
because here they'll be here for like a month, and they'll go down to Oaxaca, then they'll go over to Tulum, then they'll go to like Cabo, Mexico City, and live for a little while. Then they'll go, where do we want to go next? I love that kind of life. That's not the kind of life you're looking
not for me
create.
Personally,
right.
No, but I would love to have my home, and then I can go to this place or that place for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then come back home. But I also want to go to all of the typical places that Americans think are amazing. Like, of course, Paris. Yeah, I want to go to Dubai,
Greek islands,
and
south
Greece.
of France.
Yes. All of the typical places.
London, to see the Big Ben and the whole London Bridge and all that.
Yes.
Americans have certain places idealized and dreamy, which are also an issue, because when you go to Paris, the Parisian people are not exactly the most friendly people you ever met in your life.
Oh my goodness.
So it's not like, we have it so idealized that once I see the Eiffel Tower, it's going to be like, oh, like this is the best place in the world. It might not be the best place in the world, yet you get to go and experience it yourself and find out.
Yes.
For yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what would you say to people who are watching this and they are realizing, wow, do I have some American conditioning and programming in my mind that I need to dump so that I can hop out there? If you already have passports, hop out there and see many countries. If you don't have passports, get them. What would you say to the person that's watching? Hey fam. What would you say to the person that's watching? Because we always want to inspire people to just live bigger, have more experiences, and just do it. Like, so what? You get there, you go to Paris, you don't like it, come back home.
Yeah. I would say to push past your fears, because when I was about to book my flight, my hand was shaking like this.
Trembling over the keyboard, like, do it. Submit when you get to the part where the credit card number goes in, and you got order.
Yes. And I was thinking, oh my God,
am I crazy?
What am I doing? What am I doing? But
I'm about to leave the country.
Yes.
I'm about to leave the safety of America. Yeah.
But it's all about pushing past your fear, because right on the other side of your fears is all that you've ever wanted in life. And just to push past it, have fun, loosen up. You probably are thinking way too much into it.
Yeah.
Trying to overplan way too much. And you're never going to be able to understand and get the full scope of it until you just do it. It's just one of those things that it's like jump off the diving board and now you're in the water and it's amazing.
Just start doing this. Just go.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
go.
And another thing that I learned, like just being here in Mexico, I never thought I would be working in a salon in Mexico. That was just like the
That's
craziest
amazing.
thing. Yeah,
That's
but
amazing.
it's to me, it's all a sign of trust the universe. Trust that God is always leading you to the right place at the right time. Trust that when you get there, you're always going to meet up with the perfect people, exactly who you are supposed to meet up with. They will be there.
Preach.
Yes. I mean, there's so many lessons that I gained here that I would not have been able to get in any other way. And I think that's the real reason why I was led here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And we're going to be leaving, but before I tell you where we're going next, right? We're going to be leaving. Well, you might not tell where you're going next. I'll be telling where I'm going next. But before we tell you about we're leaving, the leaving part, leaving Mexico, I do want to tell you, pardon me, that I get to lead retreats all around the globe. So if you feel stuck, if you feel like you are not moving, I take groups to Egypt and to just all over the globe. And so in 2024, we're going to 5 destinations in 5 weeks. We're going to Bali, Thailand, Bali, incredible, broke off so many things for me. Thailand, and we're going to India, China, Hong Kong. It will be mind-blowing. 5 weeks. Wow. It's like a whirlwind 5 weeks, starting just before the Lionsgate. So we'll be in Bali 8/7, so that we have 8/8, the Lionsgate in Bali, and we'll just be, oh my God, ValerieLove.com. I'm going to drop it in the chat. So tell people where you're going next. Where are you going next? Or do you want to tell people where you're going next? You don't have to tell them where you're going next.
We're going to
go. Moving on. You're moving along this week.
We're going back to the States.
Going back to the States.
So we'll see where everything is unfolding at. But yeah, I'm like right now.
Are you happy to be going back to the States? You're ready.
Yeah.
You're ready to be going back to the States. You had your experience. You learned, you grew. Now you've chosen to go back to the States. And when you go there, you're now a different person.
Absolutely.
You're a different person.
Absolutely.
And now you're poised to be able to go anywhere in the world, because you guys have your 5 passports. You're poised to go anywhere in the world that you want to. And you know that you can pick up at any time and live anywhere for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, because you did it already.
That's true.
You lived here for what, 4 or 5 months, something like that?
Yeah.
You can do it now.
Yeah.
You've seen, I've left the country, I've been an expat, I've lived abroad. I can do that.
Yeah.
It changes something in your consciousness, doesn't it?
It does.
It changes you. You're not that little American muggle anymore.
Yeah.
You are now a global citizen. And look, family, I don't want anyone to get the impression that I don't love America. There's no country that I don't love. I love all the countries. What I'm saying is that there is more to the story than what we have been taught and told and conditioned to believe. And we need to break the limiting beliefs. I am very thankful that I have an American passport, because it's one of the best passports on the planet. So God put us in a place. If you're watching this from America and you don't have a passport yet, I'm going to come to your house, beat you 40 lashes with a wet spaghetti, because very lovingly, because you have the opportunity to have the highest quality passport on the planet. Do you know Americans can go anywhere? Every country is not like that. Go get your passport. Go get your passport. And here's a fast way to get your passport. Buy a cheap ticket to Cancun, put the refund on it, right? Get the
insurance.
Yeah, the insurance or the refundable one. Book it like a month from now. And then within 2 weeks, once you get within 14 days of that international flight, a cheap flight to Cancun is like 50, 60, $70. Book it on Spirit, book it on whatever cheap little thing you have, right? And then within 14 days of travel, call your nearest passport office for an appointment. And they have to give you an appointment at one of the nearest passport offices, and be willing to move your behind. If the passport office in New York City can't take you, go to Buffalo, New York. Go to wherever the closest passport office is. My daughter, Veronica, she went and got her passport, and she was, skating in because we were going on a cruise. So I think she picked up her passport Wednesday or Thursday. The cruise was Friday. We flew out on Friday and got on that ship on Saturday.
Yeah.
So, and just be calm about it and just know that it works. It's worked for all these people. We've helped so many people get passports. It's amazing now. I got to get pictures because Corey and Melissa, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We were leaving for Paris for Veronica's graduation. And I took Corey, Melissa, and Veronica and myself to Paris.
Yeah.
Literally, I think we were leaving Tuesday night, and they were Tuesday afternoon, and they were picking up their passports on Monday morning. Like, they went on Friday to do everything, and they had to come back Monday to actually pick up the passports.
Mm-hmm.
And we were leaving on Tuesday. I was like, guys, this is a close one,
Yeah.
We've had some people pick up the passport the same day and then go to the airport and fly out to like Greece or Italy or one of our retreats around the world.
Yeah. But that is one of the amazing things about the US. They will make sure that you have the passport for that flight.
Oh, they will.
They will make sure that you will get on that flight with that passport.
Yeah. And the key is that the flight is the accountability for you to move your butt and do it, because I find a passport is an easy thing to procrastinate on. Would you say?
Absolutely.
Years go by and people don't get a passport. Like, come on, get that done. Get it handled. Because on the other side of you having a passport, we cannot even describe to you what is on the other side if you have a passport. That means right now you can hop and go to Dubai and say, no, I'll be out. I'm going to Dubai for a couple of weeks. You can go anywhere you want at any time. Like, that's the ultimate freedom. There's a lot more than America in the world. Mm-hmm. There's over 200 countries. America is just one of them. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to say something about black and white. Is black and white down here?
What you mean, racist?
Yeah. Have you seen any black and white, anything going on down here? No, because that black and white shit lives in America.
Oh my gosh.
That's some American shit. That black and white stuff.
Yeah. Because, I haven't seen many white people here.
I've seen
Canadian people.
Yeah, definitely Canadian people. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them. But racial turmoil.
No.
Have
you seen any police beating up anybody or shooting anybody or killing anybody?
Again, not that I know of. No.
Have you heard of it?
I haven't.
I've been here for 3 years. I've been in Mexico for 3 years. I have never heard of such. Have you heard of anybody running into a school, shooting up a school?
No, I have not.
I had to tell you, one time I was at the airport right here in Merida, and I was about to fly to Miami. It was right around the time a terrible shooting had happened in the schools. And they were showing it on Mexico TV, saying, oh my goodness, look at that terrible happening in America. So while Americans are talking about Mexicans, trust and believe Mexicans are talking about y'all Americans. Yeah, Mexicans are talking about Americans, like you're not perfect. There's no perfect people. Everybody's got their issues. So let's just all be one big happy global family. That's really my bottom line, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be leaving Mexico too on Friday. And my first stop is Miami, because we have our retreat, our winter solstice ritual and retreat. And we have the initiation of the new witch in the Christian Witches Mystery School. And we have the robing ceremony for our new high priestesses, which is going to be amazing. And then I'm going to be off again. So let's see where the adventure goes. After 3 years, I've been 3 years in Merida.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been here the whole time because sometimes I'm away from my house for like 2, 3 months. I'll be in Egypt somewhere. I'll be in Greece and Italy and all over, right?
Yeah.
This has been the home base for 3 years.
Yes.
Since December of
And
2020.
that time flew right by.
Didn't it? And now it's already December of 2023, and it's time for me to continue my global adventures. So let's get it. All right, what are your socials so people can catch up with you and connect with you? What are your socials? Where are you?
I'm Gaia Ethereal on all the platforms. So
GAIA.
pretty easy.
ETHEREAL.
Yeah.
At Gaia Ethereal. Beautiful. Thank you so much. I love you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with the Love Tours tonight.
On the channel.
And be sure to subscribe, smash up the likes, and share this with people. Next time you're about to go to Mexico or Dubai or the Middle East or an African country or Europe or anywhere you're about to go, Vietnam, Asia, and your friends tell you, oh, wait a minute, be careful, because you know they're going to tell you to look up the State Department on Google. Every country has a warning from the State Department. Don't go. Like every country. Like when you look at it, it's hilarious because they talk about all the possible things that could happen if you go to that country. So the American propaganda is strong, and we just rise above propaganda in any form. Free your mind.
Yeah.
Free your mind.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Love you, family. Peace.